Chris Williams, Chris Hassel.
Two guys named Chris. Presented by Fairway Meat and Grocery. From the Channel Seed Studios, this is Iowa Everywhere.
Good morning and welcome to Two Guys Named Chris here on Iowa Everywhere. My name is Chris Williams, joined by Chris Hassel. He's got his March Madness hat on. He's ready for the Final Four.
Hell yeah.
Matt Van Winkle is producing today's program. I should have worn my Braves jersey.
Yeah, it's opening day, pal.
Dude, it totally snuck up on me.
I've been asked to bring my Cubs jersey into work today, so.
Oh, really?
It really did sneak up on me. It's still March.
Yeah, it's too cold.
Have you ever had Cracker Jack, by the way?
Cracker Jack?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like the caramel corn?
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I've never had it.
It's caramel corn. It's got some peanuts in there.
Oh, okay. No, I've never had it.
I think. Matt, can you look up what exactly is in Cracker Jack? I think it's just caramel corn. But
that's it.
Anyways.
Okay.
I think so. I think it's just like a fancy way to say that. We are presented, as always, by our friends at Fairway Meat and Grocery. Daddy's going to smoke himself some baby back ribs. Been planning on it all week. When you get the ribs out of the foil, they're nice and moist, and that's when you dive right in. All right, a Cracker Jack.
Do you ever just stick your finger just deep into that meat as it's cooking?
No, that would hurt.
I think you should try it.
That would be really painful. So, a Cracker Jack, according to Wikipedia, an American brand of snack food that consists of molasses-flavored, caramel-coated popcorn and peanuts. Boom, I nailed it.
Nicely done.
Molasses-flavored? Sounds kind of
You don't like molasses?
I don't think so. We are in the Channel Seed Studios, as always. It's almost planting season. And, boys, I think I might be heading back home here in the next few days to see everybody. You know, it's planting season, Hassel.
You're going to watch everybody spread that channel seed?
We're going to watch them. We'll be spreading it all over the fields. Now, appreciate them and their sponsorship. We have a Final Four game featuring an Iowa team coming up on Friday night, and that is where we will lead as Caitlin Clark has won the Naismith Award. Not a surprise. I think about 2 months ago there was a question if it would be her or Aaliyah Boston from South Carolina, but I don't think anybody was surprised by this award going to Iowa's.
I think it was just people that were worried. They were worried after what they saw last year and the campaigning from Dawn Staley. They were worried that somehow she could be stripped of this. But I don't know if we've seen voting, but I don't think it was close.
I don't think so either. The Caitlin Clark deal.
I love that the whole team was there when she got that.
She's been great about that. I mean, she always is crediting her team and whatnot. The Caitlin Clark deal's taken on a new life of its own, though, this week, as we kind of predicted. I mean, I saw Magic Johnson. I mean, like, it's like everybody feels like they got to get in with their love for Caitlin Clark. I was
trying to figure out, like, we've had Magic Johnson, John Cena, LeBron James.
It's WrestleMania week, too.
Luke Combs. Like, who's next? Like, who would be the most famous person that could tweet about Caitlin Clark? I suggested Putin.
Oh.
But I think the
Putin
right
have
answer,
Twitter?
I don't know. The right answer would probably be Michael Jordan.
Yeah, it'd be Jordan.
I think that's the one.
Because LeBron
Tiger
and Durant
Woods
have already done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those two are the biggest.
Kim Kardashian.
Well, isn't like Kim's little sister bigger than her now? Chloe?
I don't know.
No, not
Jenner?
Chloe. What's the one name?
Caitlyn Jenner. Kendall Jenner? I don't know.
Gus says, I'm hoping that she doesn't feel too much pressure to perform. Been there, done that.
Well, she better, because if she doesn't, Iowa's going to get run off the floor in this semifinal. The line is 11.5, 12.
I was thinking about that this morning. Like, so it's a national semifinal. Okay, so this whole notion that one team would care more than the other is stupid. They both care. They're both going to be focused and ready to go.
Of course.
I do feel like the Clark deal's probably given South Carolina an extra hint of motivation, though.
I agree.
They've been so dominant all year. They're the best team in the country.
They've won every game. It's tough. It's tough to get up every single game when you're the hunted and you're just beating everybody to a pulp. You're right. I agree. This is a little added motivation for South Carolina.
And Don Staley's going to use every ounce of it.
Oh, yeah. Was it just me? I thought it was weird yesterday the way they had the players seated at that Naismith Award, because they put Caitlin Clark right next to Dawn Staley. Like, why wouldn't Dawn Staley be right next to her player in that front row?
That's a good point. Was that strategic, or are they trying to show unity within women's college basketball as it's been so nasty for the last month?
I don't know. But I'm really looking forward to it, because this is what we've all wanted. And there she is. See Dawn Staley right there? Mm-hmm. She looks really happy to be next to Caitlin Clark, too. Look at her.
Yeah, she's just pissed. She's not happy at all.
But I think Iowa's going to have to hit 15 threes.
You kind of look like, you and Caitlin Clark look like you could be brother and sister. Has anybody ever told you that?
Oh, my God. I keep getting that.
Is that why you're wearing a hat today? Or
I've gotten it from so many different, like I've got these different pods of friends. And then I woke up to a text this morning, and I won't name names, but somebody put together a side-by-side of me and Caitlin. We both have the headset on. We both have the Hawkeye stuff on. Do you think I look like Caitlin Clark? Or do you think Caitlin Clark looks like me? Because she's younger. So I came first.
Yeah, but she's a way bigger deal than you are, so I think it would be you look like her.
Okay, fine. All right. Do you think I look like Caitlin Clark?
I could see a resemblance. Yeah.
What part of me looks?
You guys got those dimples in your cheeks?
Yeah.
Look at that right there. You're both kind of smart asses.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
I think her eyes are darker than yours. I can't really tell.
Yeah, I've got blue eyes. I don't know what nose.
Your nose.
Doug says
your nose.
Rodney says I would be more like her dad, not her brother. Matt wants to know who makes more money, Hassel or Clark. I don't think it's close.
I'm guessing Caitlin.
Yeah, and if it's at all close right now, it won't be next year.
Well,
even though she'll still be in college. What's happened in this last week? I think she's going to be making, if she's not already, I think she's going to be over $1 million soon.
I guess I kind of just assume she already would.
You think she already is?
Well, if she's not, she's criminally underpaid right now.
Well, if she's not, she's going to be. But I've seen, I think On3 Sports put out an NIL ranking the other day. I think I saw it the other day. And we don't know. It's all unofficial stuff. But she was not among the top 10, and the top 10 dropped down below $1 million a year. If she's not making over $1 million now, and I'm not sure if she is. I think there's big money from Hy-Vee that started it. She's going to be, next year, she's going to be multi-millions.
She's underpaid. She's the most famous female athlete on the planet right now.
Well,
who would be on top? Like, we're not in an Olympic cycle.
The thing is,
who in
what's
the
her name?
WNBA
Livy Dunn, I think is her name. Now, she's not as famous for what she does.
She's the gymnast
in her sport,
for LSU.
But she's famous for her NIL, her social media. Like, if you compare social media followings and all that,
That's what that On 3 thing is about. I think it's just off of social feeds.
Okay, just off social feeds?
I think so, and that's why Caitlin's so low in it. Like the Cavender twins are above her in that rating.
There's Livy Dunn.
Yes.
Okay. Estimated 3.3 million net worth. My guess is she makes more than that just in NIL.
I would
because
guess so too.
Social media because I'm guessing Caitlin Clark doesn't make a lot of money per post right now. That's where all these the Duns of the world.
Yeah.
Anything they post is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh, look at this new Victoria's Secret swimsuit line or whatever. I get what you mean. If Caitlin's not making $1 million, she's criminally underpaid, and they need to do some renegotiating.
Well, it's going to be well over $1 million next year. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Well, okay. Regardless, let's talk about the game. So our friends at Circa, last I checked, as of last night, had this as a 12-point spread, and I do think it's very realistic. I mean, we know how good South Carolina is. Everybody knows that. A lot of people in our feed saying that they think the line is too big. I do think it's a very real thing, Hassel, that they have extra motivation. And again, I normally think that's a stupid talking point, but this Clark thing is just a bit of a circus. Not in a bad way, it just is. That it kind of reminds me of like and I see Iowa State fans already rolling their eyes at this, but when we talked about The Last Dance, about how they're like rock stars wherever they go, well, that's kind of Caitlin right now. Like anyway, like people just want a piece of her nonstop. I don't think she's going to be unfocused or anything like that, but I do think that Don Staley, Aaliyah Boston, that team can sit there and go, listen, we're the undefeated team. We're one of the best teams in the history of women's college basketball. Nobody's been close to us. And look at that. Look at all the media over there, all the people that want a piece of them, and look at ours. I think they're going to be hyper-focused. If Iowa wins this game, they got to hit at least 15 threes on Friday night. What do you think?
Hey, that's what I just said.
Did you say that? 15?
Yeah. I said it. I said it last show, and I said it to start this show.
I agree with you. I
15 threes. All right. I'm reading into the line a little bit. Let's just think nationally. Most people, I think, at this point, if you're just a sports fan, you're not you're not like a hardcore women's basketball fan, but you're just a sports fan, and you know what's going on now, and you're looking to put some money on this game. I think you're probably stunned that Iowa is that big of an underdog. So my thought is a lot of the money, a lot of the bets anyway, I would think, are on Iowa to cover it.
I would agree.
But the sharp money might be on South Carolina, which might be keeping this spread up. Because I can't imagine.
It actually has moved. I think it opened at 11.
Yeah.
So that would indicate you're correct that the sharp money is on South Carolina.
And I can't imagine, Iowa fans, I'm sure, are going to bet this game through Circa. A lot of them.
Why else wouldn't that? There's not a lot of places that have women's basketball lines.
And they're going to bet on Iowa. Do you think there's many Iowa fans that are going to take South Carolina minus 12?
No.
Yet the line is still there, and it's going the other way. That scares me as an Iowa fan. That just goes to show how much better South Carolina has been than Iowa. But is this the same Iowa team that was dropping random games, a handful of games throughout the regular season? I don't know. They seem better than that in the postseason. They got past Georgia in that second round, and they've looked really good. Now, they have had an easier road than some, with the top seeds getting knocked out. But that line scares me, and that right there goes to show what a big underdog Iowa is. This is like anybody up against South Carolina this year is David versus Goliath. And even though Iowa has Caitlin Clark, this would be a monster upset if Iowa wins it.
I want to talk a little bit about just the growth of women's basketball. These TV ratings from last weekend,
insane.
They're staggering. So, and it's not just the Iowa games. We'll get in. Want to dig into a little.
Those are the highest rated ones.
Correct, but the other
you're right,
ones
it's
are
not
monster.
just that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the Iowa-Louisville game had a 1.4 rating. That's 2.5 million viewers. That's up 82% last year in ratings and 94% in viewership. Last year it was Stanford and Texas in the same game that got a 0.8 and a 1.2. It's the largest audience on record for a women's tournament game outside of the Final Four. So, the other games, the Virginia Tech-Ohio State game drew a 1.3, 2.23, which is a huge number. That's not that far behind the Clark game. And that's wrong, the Iowa game. But Clark is the reason these numbers are so massive, let's be honest. In South Carolina, Maryland drew a 1.2 with a 2.17. And those are the 6th and 7th highest women's games ever, respectively. So, there's serious momentum behind women's basketball. We've talked about it for a couple weeks, but the numbers are there, man. It's just staggering how many more people are watching this game.
And it is going to be really interesting to see what this number is on Friday night. Now,
That'll
Friday
be the
night
highest rated women's game ever. There's no doubt.
Friday night, I believe, is the least watched TV night among all the nights in America. Sunday is number one, and I think Friday is the lowest. So, see if that plays into it a little bit. But is this going to set a overall record? I don't know. There's some people that think it might. With what's the overall record? 4.5 million for a women's game, something like that.
I think this will. I think the fact that it's later, people can go out to dinner or do whatever you do on a Friday night, whatever people do on a Friday night. It's not like you have high school football or basketball, maybe some track meets. I think people being later will get done whatever they have to do to make sure and be seated for this one.
What time is it supposed to start? 8:30
Central. So.
That's late on the East Coast here. Late. That's 9:30 East Coast time. It's late, man.
But you got an East Coast team playing, but not a huge fan base in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm. I do think that this is going to set a record for a national semifinal. I think it's going to blow the previous national semifinal record out of the water. But to be the most watched college women's game of all time, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I think it will be close. It'll have to basically double the audience of Iowa's last game to get there.
I want to before we get into the men's Final Four, we do have a new sponsor. So we have what we're tabbing as the sponsor of the month.
Oh,
going forward here on Iowa Everywhere. It's
okay.
Our friends out at West Glen.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that
right?
commercial to start the show.
Yeah, you used to live out in that area, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I was out at I was at Turtle Creek Apartments.
Man, that place has really grown up even since then. I mean, Wellman's is the kind of the staple out there. You used to probably hang out at Wellman's a lot, I would think.
Yeah, we'd go up to the rooftop.
Sit out there on the rooftop. Yeah, it's kind of they got the were you there when they had the Irish, the cigar bar?
No.
See, I think I'd like that. I think I'd like
a cigar bar?
Yeah, I've never been to a cigar bar.
You haven't?
But I've heard that the Irish is
Oh yeah, you got to get out there. Cigar bars are fun.
I have been to Shotgun Betty's. Now that's my spot out there.
Is that where they have a mechanical bull?
Oh yeah.
Do they have the mechanical bull? You get out, you take your shirt off, get up on there on the bull, ride that thing.
I don't think that they have a mechanical bull. And now they got the Breakfast Club. I know that's new. You haven't been to the Breakfast Club, but it's not just
10 and a half years.
Man, well, next time you come out, we'll have to go visit our friends out at West Glen.
Yeah.
Thank them for supporting Iowa everywhere. The other game in the women's Final Four is LSU is a 1.5-point favorite over Virginia Tech. Did you see? I just saw this morning, so I didn't get to send it in the rundown. That Kim Mulkey and LSU put up a Final Four billboard in Waco.
Yep. You know what that? No, you know what? That's got a little Jamie Pollard in it.
I disagree. I think when Pollard, here's why. I had thought about that. This is why I disagree. I think when Pollard does it, he knows he's kind of being a troll.
Yeah.
I think Mulkey actually expects Baylor fans to be happy for her.
No way.
I think this woman is narcissistic enough to think that people in Waco actually are happy for her. Swear to God, that's my real take on it.
Oh, my God. I never thought of it that way. I thought it was more like,
no.
Look at what I can do. Else I can do it without you.
No.
You were me. And now that I'm gone, you're nutting.
In the know.
And I am in the Final Four.
No, I think that this woman, I don't think Pollard ever once thought, oh, these people in Iowa City, they're going to appreciate what we're building in Ames. No. Pollard was always like, screw you. Pollard knew exactly what he was doing.
I guess I just assumed that's what Kim Mulkey and LSU were doing, but
absolutely not. Mulkey,
wow.
I don't know this, obviously.
You might be right, man. You might be right.
I think she goes to marketing. You need to go and put one in Waco to thank my Baylor fans that are still cheering for me here at LSU.
Van Wink, Phil Parker's pa wants you to find the blazer she wore in the Sweet 16 game and put that up.
Oh, I like that. That was a good look.
Okay.
I don't remember specifically which one that was.
It looked like a flamingo. She looked like a flamingo.
Really?
Yeah. No, I like it.
She's something else. She is something else. And as much as she is hated, she is so good for women's college basketball.
Oh, she's a great coach.
You need characters like this. She's an incredible coach. LSU's already, oh my God.
Yeah, that is a beautiful look, Kim. I love it. I love it.
How did I miss this?
That is gorgeous. I love it. It's got like this nice like floral like top, and then it's got these like wings on. It's like the old Iowa jersey in the Fry years where they had the wings. Remember those? Tim Dwight.
Oh yeah. What
Cedric
the
Shaw.
hell?
She's like a flamingo.
This is the opposite of the coach who always wants to bring it back to her team. Yeah. This is all about the team. This is all about the team. No, this is me. This is about me. Look at me. I'm a flamingo. What is she going to wear in the Final Four?
I don't know.
What
That's
could
fantastic.
Could she be like a full mascot? Just come out dressed as
You thought
Peacock?
they put this thing up to troll Baylor fans.
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
Because I think that's what you would just assume from anyone. You know, like for instance,
I've been around Mulkey a long
Let's just say
time.
Steve Alford, he left Iowa, he went to New Mexico. He takes New Mexico to the Final Four. He takes out a billboard in Iowa City. That would be to troll. But you think Kim Mulkey's next level.
No, I think that Kim Mulkey is so arrogant and narcissistic that she believes Baylor fans should be happy for her in LSU. I truly believe that.
Incredible.
I really do. I never once thought it was a troll. I thought the whole time it was like, hey, it's like if Kirk Ferentz would go and coach at Penn State and they would win the Big Ten, and then you put up a billboard in Iowa City. Like, it's not like LSU is close to Waco.
No.
I could see putting one up in Dallas because that's where the Final Four is, and it's kind of like when LSU fans stroll into town, they're gonna feel right at home. Can you pull up that billboard one more time, too, Matt? Because it's just her. Like, are there even pictures of the players on it?
I think there's got to be. The players are like in the background, but she's in full color. She pops. She stands out. And the players are just kind of melted into the background.
Okay, here, Matt's pulling this thing up. We'll get one more look at it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're on the other. So she's a lot bigger than the players.
Yeah. And
she's the size of 3 players combined.
I look good on a billboard.
They should have put that flamingo thing up there, though.
Yeah, I like it. I'm digging it. I like it. I always got that one assistant coach. He's always got like the bow ties on. I like it. Look good on the sidelines. You look good, feel good. We all should take a note from Kim.
It would be great if Iowa could upset South Carolina and then play Kim Mulkey in the championship.
Oh my God.
I don't know though. I would take Virginia Tech. They're a 1 seed. They've been doubted all tournament long. They've had some really weird lines, and they just keep winning.
Yeah, I don't really have a feel for that game.
People just don't think of Virginia Tech in women's basketball. They think of Kim Mulkey in women's basketball.
Being the Big 12 guy that I am, I would take LSU because I've seen Mulkey win so many games. But I truly don't have any real analysis. Matt says, can you imagine Fran wearing something like that on the sideline? All right, let's get to the men's game. We are 2 guys named Chris. We are presented, as always, by our friends at Fairway Meat and Grocery here, live from the Channel Seed Studios.
I have people trolling me on Twitter now, sending me their own boxes of Fairway Meat. Like, they take a picture of their Fairway Meat in a box, and they'll tag me.
Because they know a Saturday Night Live skit?
Never gotten. I got my meat in a box.
My meat in a box, yeah. Circa currently has the line San Diego State.
The other SDSU.
-2 over Florida Atlantic. And we have UConn -5.5 against Miami. I do have some betting.
I'm interviewing Dusty May today.
Oh, your boy.
At 3 Central. I interviewed Brian Dutcher. We had Brian Dutcher, the San Diego State coach, on the show earlier in the week. I've got Dusty May today. I can't wait for that game.
So that'll be on,
game.
And that's on the CBS Sports. So it's not just the stream. People can watch that on cable.
On CBS
too,
Sports
right?
Network, yeah. And then I'm heading off to the Final Four on Saturday morning.
Beautiful. I have a few trends and numbers for you here. Okay. So this is fascinating. Your Owls did not show up on futures boards to win the national championship until early February. Wow. That's when they showed up at BetMGM for the first time. That was the first book that put FAU on a futures board at 250-1 to win the national championship. Here's another trend against your boys. No national champ has come from a non-power conference since the Running Rebels from UNLV did it in 1990.
Larry Johnson. I've got one more for you.
Iconic. Those were, and then 91 was perhaps the greatest upset in the history of college basketball in the NCAA tournament, other than the 116. But when they beat Duke, or when Duke beat them, because everybody thought UNLV was just going to roll through that tournament in 91. And that was Christian Laettner, Bobby Hurley. That was when
they burst onto the scene.
Yeah.
To start the tournament, Chris, FAU was 200-1.
It's incredible.
Start the tournament.
It's incredible.
The biggest long shot going into the tournament all time, UConn, they were, I believe, 95-1 to win it when they went on that run as I think it was a 7 seed back in 2014. So this would be more than twice the odds if FAU can pull it off. Now, UConn is playing so good right now that I don't know that anybody can beat them. if they
Let me
keep
give
playing
you a
like
UConn
this.
stat. Can I give you a UConn stat?
Yeah. They've beaten everybody by 15 plus.
This year, UConn is 15-0 straight up against non-conference opponents. They are 14-1 against the spread against non-conference opponents. They're killing everybody who's not from the Big East.
That's why, like, these people that they're like, oh, this is the craziest Final Four of all time. You look at UConn, it's a 4 seed. No, there's one team that's not like the other here. It's UConn. Like, if you go two extremes, there's one real Cinderella. That's FAU. Because San Diego State is not a Cinderella. They've been really good for a long time. FAU is on one side, and then it's UConn on the other side. They've got 4 national titles since 1999, and they are much better than a 4 seed.
Let me give you one more trend on Miami, and that's what makes this super difficult, in my opinion, to bet on.
Mm-hmm.
Miami is 9-2 against the spread as an underdog this season. Keep in mind they basically had the same team last year, 20-5 against the spread as an underdog in the past 2 years. And this goes to my theory. I don't think these Miami players give a shit until February. And I think that's why they're underdogs in so many of these games, because their metrics suck, because they don't care in November and December. I think we've seen this 2 years in a row. They're in Miami. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to do.
They're in a sleepy arena. Like,
yeah, you got millions of dollars in your pocket. They don't have a great home
court atmosphere.
Huge NIL school.
Yeah, you don't think about Miami basketball. They won the ACC regular season. ACC was really down, but
this is a really hard game to bet. Like
yeah, it's 5.5 points still, right?
Yeah. That's a
really
hard game to bet. With Miami's guards, like I think UConn will win. I think UConn's the best team in the country, but I think Miami is right there. I mean, on the hook with Mike Palm and Ken Miller. I mean, Palm kind of really smart stuff. He kind of went through the last month of the season, and he said Miami's a top 5 team if you just do that. UConn's the number 1 team if you just do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wish that we had, Miami, FAU, San Diego State, UConn, and we could see these two teams potentially in the championship. But it definitely gives the, I think, interest of a non-power conference team playing for a championship. We saw Butler do that a few times. Listen to
Butler
this
did
one
it a couple times.
This was interesting too. I think we touched on this before. No champion west of the state of Texas since 1997. Mike Bibby and Arizona did it. So that would be a huge trend if San Diego State could potentially snap that. You would think UCLA would have a title or something in there, but they haven't. Arizona.
I want to say UCLA has made 4 or 5 Final Fours since then.
Yeah, they haven't won it.
Wow. Including a couple years ago, they made it. And
unfortunately, I think if I had to play the first game, I would play San Diego State. I think that their defense specifically on the
defense against a team that they shoot about as many threes as anybody in the country in FAU.
And I'll tend to always lean defense in a matchup like that. The second game, man, I don't know. I would probably take the points in Miami. But again, I think UConn will win. I am not confident on that one at all. The trends tell you that UConn 14-1 against the spread against non-Big East, and they played a good schedule. This isn't just
Iowa State was one of them.
Yeah, they killed Iowa State. Iowa State was never in that game.
I'm interested to see the how the fan spread is in Houston, because most years you've got teams with these just huge fan bases. I mean, look at last year: Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, Villanova. This year, how many fans is FAU going to bring? How many fans is San Diego State going to bring? How many fans is Miami going to bring? I feel like UConn's going to have the most fans, but if you're just somebody that's coming in from the Houston area, you're definitely, I would think, going to be rooting for FAU.
Yes.
But I don't know. I don't know how that's all going to work out. You're in a 70,000 seat football stadium, so you never know, what the shooting is going to be like. That was one thing. Jim Larinaga was on with us yesterday, and he said that's the one thing he learned from his first trip with George Mason back in 2006, and that he told his team is that it's just so different when it's almost like you're playing outside because there's no shooting backgrounds. Like the back, usually, you go to a gym and like at FAU, for instance, there's a wall right behind the rim, wall right behind the hoop. And so you have that there's no like extreme depth, and you have a good depth perception. And then you play outside or in a dome. What's behind the hoop might be 200 yards away. So it's really difficult to shoot.
Localize it. It's like the old Unidome.
Yeah, to a much larger extent.
But we used to see Iowa and Iowa State teams go in there and
they
couldn't make anything.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great home court advantage for Northern Iowa, even though it sucked. Like the atmosphere was terrible for those Valley games. All right, that's all I got on the Final Four. So you head out there tomorrow, you said, right? And you'll
Saturday.
be doing shows. Oh,
Saturday.
okay. You're going Saturday.
Going out Saturday morning I'll go to the games on Saturday night, and then doing a show Monday afternoon on CBS Sports Network.
Be sure to bet on the games with our friends at Circa and Circa Sports Iowa. Download the app, and it helps us when they get downloads from the great state of Iowa. We appreciate that. Want to move a little bit to opening day. Again, we touched on this at the beginning of the show. Totally snuck up on me. I like baseball. I'm not like a seam head like a lot of people are. I pay attention to the Braves for 162 games. Kind of the Royals. I always got the back of my head watching the Royals a little bit, but
Royals. Why do you care about the Royals?
Just because I grew up around there. They were kind of like my second favorite team.
What do you mean you grew up around there? You didn't grow up around Kansas City.
Hour and a half.
All right.
I mean, I'm at the southern tip of Iowa.
Okay.
Man.
Yeah, I forget that you're over there by Nebraska.
Yeah. This pitch
would they let
clock
the kids in the insane asylum? Would they let them watch Royals games on TV?
Probably not, because you have to get cable. I think they just had basic. You could just watch the. No, I doubt they could get the Royals games. The games in spring training lasted 2 hours and 35 minutes compared to 3 hours and 1 minute with the 15-second pitch clock.
It's really encouraging.
I think so too.
Because I have soured on baseball so much over the last 5 to 10 years that I reached a point where I didn't watch. I didn't care because the games lasted too long. I hate the way the game is played now, where it's home runs, strikeouts, and that's it. Nobody cares about small ball. Nobody just wants to put the ball in play. It's swinging for the fences, and the games last 3+ hours. I think the season's too long. 160. The games just don't mean that much, and that's always been the case. I get it, but for whatever reason, when I was a kid, that didn't matter to me. I'm interested to see how this pitch clock carries over to. And the banning of the spread or of the shift carries over to the regular season, because if we start playing games that some of them last 2 hours and 10 minutes, 2 hours and 15 minutes, that could bring me back.
It's doable.
It could. We'll see. I'm interested. I'm very interested now. I'm not as interested in I don't really care about the Cubs anymore. Cubs won a World Series. It was awesome. And then I just I didn't care anymore. It happened. That was like the one thing on my sports bucket list that needed to happen. before I
And
died.
then you just stopped
it
caring.
happened, and then, all right, well, now what?
Do you think that'll happen? I mean, I don't think the Vikings will ever win a Super Bowl in my life.
No,
I don't think
I don't. I think for me it was different because I was just like teetering on the edge of not caring about baseball for a long time. But the Cubs carrot was always right there, so it kept me in. And then it just coincided with the game just totally changing, and the game's lasting way too long.
You're not going to get this, but I'm way more into auto racing, and now with streaming, I could watch a race any night of the week on Flow or on Dirt Vision.
Dirt Vision?
Yeah, what's the World of
That's
Outlaws?
Amazing.
But like my point is, like, there's so many nights like last summer that I would normally be watching the Braves or have it on as background noise, and now I've replaced that with our guy Blake calling a sprint car race, or
Blake Anderson, baby.
Right? Like, I'm more into the UFC.
Yeah,
than I'm baseball.
I'll say that too. I would rather. There are a lot of things I would rather watch ahead of a baseball game. I never thought I would say it. UFC is one of them. Soccer is one of them, and one of the main reasons is it's entertaining the whole way. There's no like huge lulls, and it just doesn't take that long. Now you'll have people say, "Well, but football. The last college games last 3.5 but you only get 12 of them a season."
Exactly.
It's totally different.
No, you're exactly right. It just feels like these games don't mean anything, and that's why most people don't start paying attention until after the 4th of July. This day's different. I'll have games on in the background all day. Opening day's got a different
You will?
feel to it.
I won't. Like I'm interested to see the average times. And we'll be covering it on CBS Sports HQ Spotlight. We'll have Jim Bowden on with us, former Reds general manager.
At least now they're doing like a real opening day.
Yeah. I hated with some team they'd open up with like a game in Japan. And then 2 days off, and then another game in Japan, and then another 3 days off before a handful of more teams start in the United States.
You just watch. You Cubs fans do this a lot.
What?
I don't even know like what time the Cubs play or who. There's going to be all sorts of people overreacting to like specific plays in opening day games today on Twitter.
Jesus.
Oh, here we go again. You just watch.
I don't care enough. Baseball was my favorite sport growing up. I watched every single Cubs game, every one of them, because all of them were on WGN. As you know, you watch the Braves on TBS, and I watched a ton of Braves games too. I loved it, especially in the summertime. I loved it. Always had it on. And I lived and died. Like I lived and died every game.
You probably died a lot.
Oh, I died, baby.
A lot of death.
I had more than 9 lives with the Cubs. But
I used to nap to the Braves in college. I remember that all the time.
That's
a great endorsement for the sport
right.
of baseball. Want to take a nap? Turn on baseball.
You want to hear a funny story? So I'm a big baseball fan.
Who are you a fan of?
San Francisco Giants.
Oh yeah.
Being from the Bay Area. So the Giants brought back one of their relievers to like have one last game of the preseason. Sergio Romo was his name, reliever.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, big guy out in the Bay Area. A lot of people love him out there. So he came in like the 7th inning, a game against the A's. They were getting crushed. He takes his time, just soaks it in from the crowd, all the applause. Well, he took too much time, and the umpires called him for the pitch clock violation twice. They gave him 2 balls to start his first batter.
Nice.
Isn't that just like the epitome of what's wrong with baseball? Like, no fun. Come on.
Hey,
I love baseball, but
Van Wink, speed that shit up, man. Let's get going. I'm tired of these 3+ hour games.
Come on, Sergio.
No more tipping your cap to the. No, don't just take that ball and throw it.
I thought it was fun last year when they would check like the pitchers for whatever they were checking them for, like pine tar or whatever it was.
So Romo was
And they
funny
don't
because
freak out.
he went viral because he pulled his pants down one time when they asked him to do it. He literally just dropped trow.
Cavity search.
Yep.
Go ahead, look on in there.
It's like digging through the ribs.
Yeah, next time you smoke those ribs, go ahead and stick your thumb
Dude, that would hurt.
deep.
They're hot.
But the burn is what it's all about. Just stick your thumb deep inside that carcass.
So what's this about your dad? He's convinced. I saw him coming at John Miller.
Yeah, what is this a
On
new
Twitter?
rivalry? What
Well,
happened?
So when we were in Vegas, you sent me and Van Winks.
Well,
a text.
my dad thinks you are the strangest SOB in the world.
He may be onto something. Let's be honest.
And
Well,
he just
I
kept
just
he
think
just
it's-
kept saying, "How are those guys? How are they hanging out with that John Miller for 5 straight days? How do they stand him?"
I just think it's funny that your dad thinks that I'm strange. Like, look at what he raised.
Well, yeah, but
So we read the text, and Miller's like, "What did I do to Don?" He's like, "What's up? I thought Don and I were cool." And I'm like, "I think you're cool. I just like." Anyways, so Miller gets like super neurotic about all of this, and like, "What did I do to Don?" Like, John Miller. You hang out with him now, it's kind of like hanging out with Will Ferrell. Is how I would describe it. Like, it's very animated. So then Don did something on Twitter the other day, makes a comment about something about John Miller, and he basically accused John of being a Cyclone fan.
yeah, I think Miller asked my dad,
What is this? I love it.
Van Wink, photoshopping an Iowa State logo on Miller's hat.
Well done.
I think Miller on Twitter asked my dad that same, like, "What did I do to you? Why don't you like me?" And my dad said something like, "Because you're an Ames fan." My dad doesn't like John Miller because he thinks John Miller is an Iowa State fan.
John Miller's like he's like the iconic Hawkeye website guy. Like, he started it all.
Is it possible my dad just has no clue who John Miller actually is?
It's possible.
Like, he has him confused with you?
Your dad is just so deep into the Hawkeye bubble that
Oh,
if
God.
anybody is critical of the Hawkeyes, then they're just a Cyclone.
Yeah, he calls me a Cyclone. He doesn't call them Cyclones. He calls them Cyclowns.
Yeah, could totally see that from Don.
And
Why
he
does he
won't
think
call
I'm
them
so
Iowa State.
strange?
He won't
Why-
call them
I-
Iowa State. He calls them
What about
Ames.
me? What about me? Fired him up to make him send that text that I'm that strange. I mean, I get it.
You were wearing that Indiana jersey,
Yeah.
and he just doesn't understand why you would wear that Indiana jersey.
I mean, I get it though. Don's not used to having alumni from the Hawkeyes playing the NBA. He doesn't understand.
No, he doesn't.
I understand. That's
So, I think my dad thinks that you grew up rough. He's like, boy,
tough.
that
life.
Chris Williams had a tough upbringing there in that town of Clarinda with the grandpa. He was the warden at the insane asylum, and what was your mom was the secretary at the prison,
Yeah, all this is true.
and your dad was he would mow the grass at the axe murder house.
Yes, all of this is true.
And what
Yeah.
else? He ran the electric chair at the Clarinda Academy. He was the one that had to put the kids down.
Put kids down.
Well, this one's not going to make it. He's
Jesus.
16. He hasn't turned the corner yet. Let's put him down. All right, call Mr. Williams.
Van Winkle, you should Google Clarinda Academy shut down, and we should read the headlines.
Oh God,
We've already done this before, haven't we?
I don't think we actually read the
This
headlines.
is like a monthly thing on the show.
The best is when I show up at Jack Trice Stadium and that guy had created this sign. It says the Clarinda Academy, and he puts it in front of my camper.
Oh, yes. You still have that sign?
Oh, yeah. It's in my garage. Clarinda Academy closing after years of alleged abuse.
So that's your dad, because your dad was in charge of the, punishments, right, at Clarinda Academy? So your dad...
where are you getting that from? My dad worked at Hy-Vee for like 40 years, and then he ran his own lawn business.
Wow. You guys have turned like... you're kind of like Kim Mulkey. You grew up a Hawkeye fan. Now you're the biggest Cyclone of all time. Your dad worked at Hy-Vee, and now our show, our main sponsor is Fairway. This is great.
Dad has no loyalty to Hy-Vee. It's just a job. We're Fairway people now. The Fairway in Ankeny, it's on the far like north end of Ankeny. I'll make the statement here. It's the greatest grocery store I've ever been in my life.
I've never been
right
to
over
that
by
one.
36th Street in Ankeny. The liquor selection is incredible.
They've got
meat,
liquor at the Fairway?
Oh yeah, they've really invested into liquor.
Hmm.
At Fairway, they have you can find some hidden gems in there all the time. I can always get me a bottle of Bourbon County when I go in there. They always got it. They've got really good liquor and beer selection. It's the greatest grocery store I've ever been to in my life. The one on the north side. And then the meat market in Ames. I don't know why anybody doesn't go to Fairway now.
I agree.
The meat?
I noticed that looked like you'd given up on the headphones that Van Wink graciously got for you.
Yeah, I'm all over it.
Because you could never
it's the same
figure
thing.
them out.
I just put it in one and just let it hang. All right. Oh, whoa. We have one other topic. This roller skating guy you wanted to talk about.
Have you seen this? It went viral. This guy took a video of the happenings at a roller skating rink in Cedar Rapids, posted it on TikTok, and it went viral. The kids falling flat on their face. and then this older guy who's probably been skating at this rink for 60 years, just owning the place. But what I couldn't believe is that roller skating rinks still exist.
Oh yeah.
And two, people still go to them? I mean, I thought like the one in Muscatine closed down like 25 years ago. But that was the place where the roller skating rink, that is where all the kids had their birthday parties if it was in the winter. If you had a birthday in the wintertime, your party was at Rollerland or whatever the hell it was called. And it looked just like this.
We did this for Cameron last year. She has a February birthday.
At a roller, you're still doing that? People are still going to these roller skating rinks?
We rented it out and took all of her friends.
I thought
I was
these things
bebopping
died
and
off.
scatting all over the place. I was this guy. This was me. But there's two parts of this video that I love the most. One is the kid who falls. He's like he's like crying, and whoever's shooting the video zooms in on it. It's hilarious. Two, it's right at the start, the guy's shirt that says "I like older women."
Yeah, it's like a 20-year-old kid in a shirt that says "I love older women." When I was in fourth grade, somebody had their birthday party at the roller skating rink, and there was always one person working there, and it was a really sketchy person, really sketchy at the roller rink. And we got this guy to get on the intercom and berate one of our classmates it was a girl.
Oh,
and he was berating her over the intercom. because we were telling him to. And we get home that night, and about an hour later, our house phone starts ringing. Oh. And my mom and my stepdad call me in, and they're like, Chris, what happened at the roller rink? I said, what do you mean? Was somebody getting on the intercom and shouting at obscenities at one of your classmates? I said, well, yeah, it was the guy that worked there. So this guy ended up, I don't know if he got arrested or what. He got in huge trouble, fired from the place. Like these people, they were threatening lawsuits.
Oh, my God.
And thinking back on it now, it's like, what was this guy thinking? We were in 4th grade.
Well, I could see that happening now.
But
we live in a...
He would get on the intercom and like, attention, roller rink combatants. I have a message for the skank wearing the... This is a 4th grader. Can you imagine?
He probably has like permanent like mental damage because of this
yeah.
thing.
Oh, this guy got it, and rightfully so. I mean, we were to, because we put him up to it. But what kind of an idiot does this and follows through?
It's like, yeah, I want to impress these 4th graders. I want them to think I'm funny.
He was probably, I would guess, he was probably in his 20s or 30s.
Okay, if he's working at the roller in his 30s, he's probably not that bright.
All right, who's the bitch over there wearing the... He was saying that stuff on the intercom. 4th graders.
Sounds like this guy belongs in the academy.
Oh, yeah. He should have grown up on the other side of the state. Get your dad to whip him in shape over there at the academy.
Oh. We had a blast. We did the roller skating. There's a nice one in...
Does it still... they're nice?
It's like in Clive.
Because I picture every
old
roller rink looking like it was built in the 60s, 70s.
Absolutely. This place
and
is
nothing
just
has
like
changed inside. They've not updated anything. The skates are all 50 years old.
Yes. Oh, yes.
It's kind of like bowling alleys. Kind of the same sort of feel.
You know what they've gotten rid of that was a big deal when we were kids is they don't, like McDonald's doesn't have the balls like they used to. Remember you jump in the pit
those are
and play
great.
The balls. You just swim around in all those balls. But it's really...
I think Hardee's used to have a big ball pit too. There's no
COVID
ball pits
ended
anymore?
That. They're just a petri dish. COVID got rid of that. There's no more balls.
Go to the trampoline park in Ankeny. They've got one. I know from experience.
Oh.
Is that indoor thing for kids? The playground for kids thing? Yeah, it's another...
They've got one of those.
But that's a place that's what they do. Those McDonald's ball pits, those balls probably never got washed.
Do you remember the
pooping in there? Like, seriously.
Do you remember the outdoor McDonald's play places? They were outdoors.
Yes. And
before they built the indoor ones.
Scorching hot.
It was on like this really thin layer of AstroTurf.
Yes.
And they would have these slides, these like really slick slides that were rusted. People were cutting themselves on them. One time I was probably in kindergarten, and I was with my mom. We were at McDonald's. We were outside at that little play place, and some kid who was probably my age came down that slide and cracked his head open at the bottom of the slide. He is gushing blood out of his forehead. And he was with his mom, who was also by herself. And I think they had another kid with him too. So the mom, that's the picture, yes. But the only thing it's missing is that big slide. I see the big slide. Yeah, it's in the background. That thing, it would shoot kids out so fast that they would like hit the ground and hit their head. So this kid is gushing blood out of his head. And this mom is freaking out. And my mom was like, oh my God, I'll take you to the hospital. And all I remember is my mom had just gotten like a new some kind of Chevrolet car.
Just blood everywhere.
And I remember her saying, and she didn't mean it in a bad way, but I had to sit in back and with this other kid, and the mom was in front with a kid bleeding out of his head. And my mom saying, just try not to get too much blood on the interior of the car. I just got it. And we take these random people to the emergency room. And we get to the emergency room. The kid goes in. They take him into the back. And we're sitting there with the mom and the other kid, like the brother or whatever.
You actually waited? You didn't just drop him
Yes,
off?
we waited there. And we just started guessing how many stitches the kid would need in his forehead.
I got 18.
Yeah, we were guessing 14, 15, and it was like 17 stitches.
You guys have like a
Think of
pot?
that.
You're doing an over-under?
17 for a kid? He had 17 stitches
Probably
in his
had to get a
forehead from the
tetanus shot,
McDonald's
too.
play place. And there
It
was
reminds
blood
me-
all over the car.
Your mom's reaction for some reason, it reminded me of the Tiger King when that worker gets its arm bit
Oh
off
my
by the tiger.
God.
And
Oh my
Joe Exotic goes, I'm never going to financially recover from this. The kid's losing consciousness. He might
Yeah.
die
The arm
for
is
a
gone.
lack of blood. Hey, will you just try and not bleed on the interior?
And I know I bring that story up to her about every 5 years or so, and she feels so bad. She's like, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I said that. But she was freshly divorced, had no money,
I get it.
spent all of her money on this little Chevrolet. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't very, it was a really tiny Chevrolet car, like a 1986 something. And
And that
well, you just try not to get. She didn't say try not to get any blood because that was impossible. She said try not to get too much blood
kid
on the
hit an
interior.
artery. He's just gushing.
I really thought the kid might die. He was losing that much blood. We could not wait too long. We couldn't wait long enough to have the ambulance come to McDonald's. We had to go directly to the emergency room. That's how dire it was.
Man. So did you get
And then,
to go back and eat?
Sure enough, it was like a year later, McDonald's, because I'm sure they had all kinds of lawsuits from kids getting injured out there, they got rid of it, and that's when they transitioned to the indoor play places that had all the padding and all that
And then COVID hit. No more.
Well, yeah, about 25 years later,
Nah,
30
those
years later.
balls, man. Those balls have germs all over them. Those kids are putting those balls in their mouth with all the germs. It's disgusting.
I'm sure there were some yahoos using them as anal beads and then putting them right back in.
Weird kids out there.
Well, you know kids nowadays.
Well, I'm glad that our friends at West Glen decided to jump in on this program.
Hell
Appreciate the
yeah.
sponsorship.
I was. Why didn't you warn me about the commercial at the start of the show?
Here's why. Because our friend John got that to me last night at like 9 o'clock, and I didn't. I just didn't think to give you the warning, so I apologize. I didn't even know about it until then. So here we are.
I loved it.
It's good. That's a
West
good
Glen.
commercial.
That was my
Quit
area.
texting your friends and get out and go drink with them. West Glen. All right. This was a fun show. Enjoy the Final Four. I'm envious. I would.
All right, so Monday, I think I guess if we're doing a regular show on Monday, I'll be coming to you from the Channel Seed studio. We'll be spreading our seed down in Houston.
What kind of hotel which hotel you staying at?
It is a Westin.
Oh, nice.
I don't know where in the city.
The hotel, the Final Four is kind of like there's just backroom meetings going on all weekend long with athletic directors and coaches, and like it's basically where all of the business of college basketball happens per year. It's crazy.
Last year, I had a great time at the Final Four last year. TJ was down there with the Iowa State coaching staff, and I met up with him at some rooftop place in where was it at now last year? Oh, New Orleans. Met up with him at 11 o'clock. It was the weirdest place. This girl was running the thing upstairs, and she's like, "I'm gonna go," And we were like, what? What do you mean you're going to go? It says it's open till 2. Like, just take whatever you want. I don't care. She left. And so then we just stayed up there drinking the rest of the night. We stayed until like 2 in the morning.
And they didn't charge you or anything?
Well, TJ took care of everything. So I don't know if he gave her, like, here you go. Here's $5,000. Go have yourself a night. But I didn't pay a damn thing. It was a fun night.
Are you going to meet up with Fran this week?
Yeah, I'm going to ask him if he'll come on the program.
I'm getting Fran McCaffrey on the show.
It's not happening. What? I mean, if I were him, I'd go to Dallas.
Yeah.
Check out the other basketball team in the Final Four. Look what Bluter's doing, man. Bluter, former Fighting Bee, former Queen Bee over there at St. Ambrose University. She was the head coach there in the late 80s. That's where she got her start, like
really
right out of college.
Iowa icon, if you think about it. Goes to Drake, builds that program, and goes to Iowa City.
What a story.
Had a great career. All right. Thanks, Hassel. This was a blast. I laughed a lot, which is good. I hope you guys did too. Maddie Van Winks, the show would not be what it is without you and your contributions, my man. And everybody have an awesome weekend. I've got a special podcast I'm doing today, a WrestleMania preview with Ted Flint.
Ted Flint, Kansas?
Yep, WrestleMania preview. That's coming up later today on the CW pod.
All right.
You going to be watching?
No.
All right. Many people will. Love y'all. Thanks for paying attention. Thanks for watching. Thanks for downloading all that good stuff. We'll be back on Monday.